Welcome to Alignment First, where we're here to bring leaders back to their peace, presence, and power. And I've got the honor and pleasure to sit down with Zach Ratashak, founder of Tactical Mind Business Coaching, Navy veteran, and shout out to DJ Barton for putting us together and making sure that we shook hands and connected at his Cocktails and Connections event here in Scottsdale not too long ago. Dude, we hit it off immediately. There's obviously the veteran connection, but your mission in business coaching, specifically the setting realistic expectations when it comes to M&A for your clients, really piggybacks off of a lot of the work that some of my clients are doing on this side of the fence. So before we get into all of that, how does one go from everything you did in the Navy to business coaching?
Yeah. So I did 10 years in the Navy. And when I was in there, I really found a passion for helping people get to where they wanted to go. Anytime we transferred to another duty station, it was always train your relief, right? You get in, you're learning. And then as you become senior, you're training your relief. And I think I really found a passion for helping people get from where they're at to where they want to go. And I realized that it helped me with my leadership style. So there was a time when I had a guy that was working for me in the Navy, and he had 3 years left on his contract, but he hated being there. And so I looked at myself and I'm thinking, all right, how do I need to lead him to be able to do these, still show up to work and want to do stuff. So I started diving into what he wanted to do in life. And at the time he was like, I want to be a firefighter. I'm like, okay, cool. Where do you want to be a firefighter at? All this other stuff. So I started laying this groundwork and this framework for him. I was like, you got to pick, 15 to 20 people that you need to connect with the next time you go home on leave. And then from there, get immersed with them. And I was like, well, we're on submarines. We deal with firefighting all the time. Let me send you to some schools. Let's get certified. Let's get you up to par. And so my whole vision behind that leadership was that he sees that I'm invested in him and I'm helping him go to the next level. Now, when he shows up for the next 3 years that he's working with me, it's not a constant drag. It's not something that's just being, beating my head against the wall.
Yeah.
Right? He knows I'm working with him, right?
Yeah, but where does that abundance life mindset come from for you in the container that is the United States Navy? Because to allocate resources to send this sailor off mission, off script, so to speak, and as with the best of intentions as a leader, what me and a lot of my Marine buddies often joke about is what's best for the Marine Corps isn't always best for the Marine. So when these hidden gems that are leaders like Zach Ratashak show up, it's like, oh my God, please stay for 20. You take care of our people. Where's that come from for you? Because I would not say that it's necessarily commonplace for leadership in any military organization to see the bigger picture that way.
So, I mean, what I hear your question is like, where did that originally come from? Like that part of me. I guess I'd have to go back to growing up in Iowa. My grandpa had a farm and I went out on the farm all the time, and he was always, no matter what, he was always giving to people, always helping anybody he possibly could. And I think that small town feel and that generosity and always lending a hand just was like ingrained into me. He was previously in the Navy, so it inspired me to go in the Navy. And then as I was growing up, I say in the Navy, I saw a lot of leaders that they only did care about themselves. So they only cared about the Navy and they didn't really put their sailors first, even though it seemed like that was always their motto, right? They always put their sailors first, right? It's always, it's like, hey, yeah, we care about you, but you got to go do this. So I'm like, dude, it doesn't work that way. It's like if and I guess let me frame it this way: on a submarine, we only have so many people. I mean, there's 100, maybe a max 150 on a crew. It's going to take me 8 to 14 months to get a replacement if somebody taps out and says like, I can't do this. And we do a bunch of screening processes. So as soon as you get someone that's down in the dumps and they don't want to go to work there, they could start saying like, hey, I'm having bad thoughts, I'm having this. They'll kind of med pull them from the ship, and now I'm down a
Hmm.
whole body. So I have to
Right.
be very creative on, okay, how do I make this work? And I think a lot of leaders in business now, they say, oh, I can't hire anybody. Nobody is actually willing to work. I'm like, well, what are you telling them?
Hmm.
What do you know about your guys? Like, do you know about their families? Do you know about their kids? Do you know about? So I've always made a point to be able to learn about them as a person versus
Hmm.
them just filling a space.
Yeah. As a, you're not small.
No, 6'6".
How does a 6'6" individual navigate, literally and figuratively, the tiny spaces of a submarine?
Yeah. So yeah,
For months at a time, no
very
less.
carefully.
How do
You
you
know,
not have a hunch in your back, bro?
you bend at the waist or your knees, right? Not at the waist or the back.
Okay.
Walking around all like bent knees and stuff. No, I was submarines. I don't know if you've been on a submarine nowadays, but it's 4 stories tall basically, and it's a football field long.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh shit. The
So,
only naval vessel I've been on was a carrier at
oh yeah.
out at Norfolk. I've never touched a submarine.
Yeah, they're pretty big. I mean, they're just underwater. I mean, you can't
It's
really
a
see them.
submersible cruise ship, huh?
Yeah, it's like being,
No.
and everybody always asks, like, well, what's it like being underway? It's like being in a building with no windows. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and then once we submerge, if there's a storm, we don't even rock like a normal surface ship. We're just down there cruising.
Yeah.
Um, I was the other day I was talking to somebody, and this guy was super wizard smart. He puts like rovers on Mars, or I mean like on the moon, like super. I was
Yeah.
like, that's pretty awesome. I go, the coolest thing I got to that, I was qualified to pilot a submarine. Like I drove submarines. He's like, well, that's pretty cool. So now the last couple of days, I'm like, the fun fact about me is I was qualified to drive a submarine.
Holy shit. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Um, so farm boy from Iowa turned naval leader. And then what's your trajectory from active duty to mergers and acquisition?
Yeah, so I got out. I wanted to spend more time with my family, my kids. I was gone a lot, so it caused a lot of issues in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so my ex, she had like moved back to Michigan, and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna be separated, right? Like from my kids, like that's a big thing for me. Growing up, my dad lived in the same town, but there was just a lot of times he wasn't there. So it's always been very important to me to be close to my kids. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, all right, I'm going to get out. And I didn't care if I had to work at McDonald's and only see them on, freaking Sunday. I didn't care. I was going to do whatever I could. Luckily, I interviewed for an instructor position at a robotics company, and I walked onto this corporate job being an instructor. And then I transitioned about 2 years after that into project management. And I stayed at that company for 5 years. But while I was there, I was doing the groundwork to be able to kind of make a transition out. And I first started doing firearms training. And so my logo, I still have, this was my original logo. Tactical Mind's the same brand name, everything that was the
Mm-hmm.
same. And I was doing the concealed pistol license. I was doing, just figuring it out. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a couple, actually crazy. I did a couple in-person trainings, and then COVID happened and shut everything down. So then I had to do virtual classes. It was crazy. So I had to learn about all that and navigate it. And I think the biggest thing I took away from that alone was it wasn't scalable.
Mm.
Right. I was the only guy doing the firearms training. I was like, I'd have to get other instructors. I
You
need a
can't scale
range.
Zach.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't do that. And I can't. I'm trying to buy back my time because I want to spend it with my family and my
Mm-hmm.
kiddos and stuff. And so I realized that wasn't the play. And then I
Okay.
started looking at buying uh, basically service-based businesses. And so
Mm-hmm.
I started talking to a bunch of business brokers, and then I ended up coming across a business broker who was like, hey man, I told him my story. I was like, listen, this is my plan. I want to buy a service business. I want to get it, set up. I know how to manage a team. In the Navy, I was running, had 52 instructors when I worked at the gun range. Like I can manage people. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I understand systems. I've managed, submarine launching systems for torpedoes. My dad was a painter growing up. My mom was a plumber. I've done all kinds of construction, working on the farm. Like, dude, I got this. Like, we could
Right.
do. a service-based business. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
I was telling this broker, I was like, hey, I want to get a business. I want to get it running very clean and optimized with systems. And then I want to bring in leadership or elevate leadership within that company. And then eventually I'm going to have them replace me. And then I'll
Mm-hmm.
just kind of manage from afar. And then I'll just do it again. I'll buy another service business and that's what I want to do. And then I'll basically, at the end of the game, I'm sitting here, I'm basically coaching all these different people, these businesses that I own, but they're ran and managed by other people. And he goes,
Mm-hmm.
you ever thought about buying a business brokerage? And I was like, no. He goes, well, I'm looking for a partner. I'm like, okay, what is this? What is this? So it was a huge opportunity that I had, because now what happened was, is I ended up buying in as a partner with him. And then I got to
Mm-hmm.
see the back end of everyone's books. So think about it. It could be a juice store. It could be
Mm-hmm.
a pizzeria. I've had Italian fine dining restaurants. I've had bars. I've had landscaping. I've had um, childcare facilities. Looked
Let,
at the,
I'm gonna back up really
yeah,
quick
you're
because
good.
because you now you're getting to look at the books, right?
Yeah.
And this is really interesting from the veteran perspective, where most of us come into business knowing how to do things
Mhm.
and not necessarily how to run a company.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, from all the doing that you are familiar with, uh this is a an element of discovery for the both of us right here,
Yeah. No,
right?
you're good. Yeah.
uh you're essentially a jack of all trades, a technician that knows what good work looks like, that knows how to do good work, and has a high standard of performance. You buy into this business brokerage, and now you're getting to look at, how familiar were you coming into the brokerage with the P&L bookkeeping side of the house? Because
Yeah.
there's the operational side,
Mhm.
and like me, I came out of the Marine Corps knowing how to help. I was an expert at helping people sweat and smile.
Yeah.
I didn't know shit
About
about
books.
a P&L. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So was there a piece of that was like, oh, a rapid fire education, or did you have a working knowledge of the back end of things as well?
So that's a great question. So I learned some as I was doing my firearms training. I was
Mm-hmm.
starting to figure things out and kind of taking myself through the school of just figuring it out and then reading
Running
books
out of
and
ways to mess it up.
yeah, like I don't know, right? And then I remember, so mind you, in this whole time I was doing the firearms training and then I transitioned and I owned this business brokerage. I still had a corporate job. So I was still working the whole time as a project manager at that time. And so I'm running
You're a
huge
partner
jobs.
in a business brokerage as your side hustle?
Dude, yeah.
You are ambitious, sir.
Yeah, dude, it's
Wow.
crazy. So I was like, man, it was crazy. We'll talk about timing. This is what brings, like, I love to talk to business owners about how to build out their schedule, because I was corporate. I ran a business brokerage, and at the time I had 3 kids in hockey, and I'm taking them everywhere. Dude, it's crazy. If I didn't make breakfast or if I didn't make dinner like Wednesday morning for Wednesday night, by the time they got off the bus, we had to microwave it and they ate it on the way to hockey. Like it
Yep.
was so, like I had no time and it was crazy. But um so to answer your question, I was, as a project manager, I was dealing with a lot of finances for these huge multi-million dollar projects
Okay.
for clients for that company. And
Mm-hmm.
I got to see a lot of book work going on there, which helped.
Mm-hmm.
So I take my small P&L, what I was doing with my small little business, and then I also compared it to these large scale businesses, invoices. I had to hire contractors.
Yep.
As a project manager, I had to go out on site. I had to manage them. A lot of the stuff I had to do too wasn't even documented. We were doing operations on systems that they built just for that one
Yep.
plant, or and so it's a lot of automotive industry. And so I'm dealing with the big, big names in the automotive industry, and they just was, hey, the job is to get it done. So
Right.
my mission was going there. I'm the project manager. I was well known for being the guy that was always on site with my guys,
Mm-hmm.
and I would figure it out. They come to me like, I don't even know how to do it, but you know what? we're going to go take care of it. So
Yep.
that mentality, and then running the books on the back end of, seeing corporate and how they structure it, and then seeing the small business, and then all of my own personal journeys of squirreling off onto random books and, watching some podcast or watching, just really diving in, that really helped. But 100%, I think if you're not uncomfortable a little bit going into something,
Yeah.
you're not really pushing yourself. So there was a huge learning curve as well.
Mm-hmm.
And my business partner at the time, he was definitely, explaining things, going through things. I had, here's these P&Ls, figure out what you would do to improve it. Let me
Mm-hmm.
know by tomorrow morning, everything you do to improve this business. And so then I'd have to go and do all this stuff, right?
Yeah. Is there a piece of you, because I feel like it's so natural when you hear the veteran narrative, like, I'll just go figure it out. I can
Yeah.
figure it out. I figured it out before. I don't even need all the information. Let's just start making shit happen.
Yeah.
Right. And that is highly effective
100%.
for a long time.
Yep.
And then at some point it stops working. Hence the necessity for scale. Right.
Yep.
Because it's in as I've gotten older and further away from my time on active duty, that thing that we used to celebrate ourselves for, that superpower of making shit happen and just doing it ourselves, doesn't work for very long in the world of business. So was there a point, was that a harsh reality for you? Like that pattern bit you in the ass and you had to evolve from there? Or did you have enough foresight to realize that, okay, I've got to look at this differently. I need to transcend and include some of those traits, but it can't be the end all be all.
Yeah. Well, and 100%. So, to talk about the drive to get it all done, right? I think the biggest skill I would teach anybody, right? If I were to give anybody advice, that's, younger and they're growing in the career of whatever, it doesn't matter, is
Mm-hmm.
being resourceful. So I teach my kids the same thing. It's like, if you're resourceful, that's good, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
my son does online, my boys do online ASU. They go to Arizona State University, but it's a K through 12 program.
Yep.
And his teacher messaged and said, "Hey, you need to have Caleb redo his homework. He's copying and pasting from Google AI." And I'm like, I'm like, Caleb, I already know what you did. Go fix it. Like, you can't, it
Don't be that
like,
resourceful.
like, he's being resourceful. So like, how can I be mad?
Right.
It was literally something that he probably will never ever use.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, "Oh, like he put it into Google and it just said, it basically had the beginning section, like answering his question, like AI was talking to him, like,
Mm-hmm.
based on your question, this," and he copied and pasted that part into
Oh,
there. And
rookie
I'm like,
mistake.
dude, you told on yourself. Like, at least read it and snip that out. Come on,
But dude,
man. But
I think we're gonna segue real quick.
yeah, no,
Father to father. I love this shit, man. It's one of those things. And dude, I applaud you as a father for not getting in your kid's ass over it, because if you can zoom out from the transgression, if you will, and recognize that with the best of intentions, he's just doing what dad taught him to do.
Be resourceful.
Right. It's like, oh, okay, I can't fault you for that. However, this is how we need to channel that principle, because there is the element of integrity that
100%.
must, you know what I mean?
100%. Right.
And dude, so like, walk me through that lesson for your son.
Yeah.
Where putting the guardrails, if you will, on what it is to be resourceful. Yeah. And you wield that weapon for good.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, and I just told him, I said, "Listen, man, if you don't know something, obviously you're doing research, you're looking it up."
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, he was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Caleb, I know what you did." Like, then he's like, I was like, "You copied it right over from Google. Like, I know you did." And then he started to kind of smirk at me. I was like, "Just go fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Go actually look through your lesson plan. Go do this." But if you don't know where to find something, like obviously you already have a default, like, hey, let's go look something up. And so I've always given my kids something to challenge them a little bit and say like, hey, you like, he likes supercars. So I was like, hey, go look up this supercar and all the specs on it. How are you going to find it? Like, what would you do here or there? But to answer your question on how I navigate is I think about in life what adults go through and how they would, a lot of people are like, I don't know. I don't know how to figure it out. And so I just let him know, I guess I guide him to say, hey, if it's a test, obviously, you can't be doing this. And then if it's in this situation where you're submitting your homework, I just go and say, hey, make sure you just read through it has lessons that you could do beforehand, and it answered everything basically, right? But he was
Yeah.
just trying to hurry up and get it done. And so I think that there's value in being, letting him know when it's, hey, this is actually testing your current knowledge versus you go out and like seek and find the information. Does that kind of make sense? Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
think that's kind
totally.
of answering your question. Like, how do I
Yeah.
navigate that? Is because obviously I don't want them just using, there's a time and a place you have to be tested, like your knowledge with nothing
Yes.
else. That has to happen. And he even goes in, so even though he does online school, they do testing in person. And
Right.
it's like, and that's why I let him know, like, hey, you still have to learn all this stuff. So when you go in, you're good to go. So it
Yeah.
gives them that background. But I don't know. Does that kind of answer
Yeah,
what you're
totally,
kind of
man.
looking for? Yeah.
What I'm falling back on as you say all that, it's one of the Marine Corps leadership principles, and that's to be technically and tactically proficient.
Yeah.
Right. And the dovetail off of that is the practical application, the lesson that befalls all leaders, I think. And that's not necessarily being beholden to knowing all of the information, but what makes you more effective, if not lethal, is knowing where that information is or who has it.
That's the next thing that kind of segues us back into the conversation of scaling, right?
Yeah.
Of who has it, right? And I know you asked me initially was it a lesson I had to learn to basically not do it all myself? And it wasn't, I think I saw a lot of business owners failing or succeeding based off of who they had around them.
Yep.
And that's why I think being a business broker was so valuable, and being able to see it real time, or even seeing the same business across the town from each other. And I thought initially, I said, okay, maybe this place is a better location, this one's not. But then I look at their profit and loss statement, and I kind of see what's going on there. And then we sold the worst one that was performing, I guess, poor. And the new owners took it over, and within 6 months, they turned it completely around. It was doing better than that other person's location. Literally same franchise.
Yeah.
But they turned it around. I thought it was a location issue. And then I saw this happen, and they flipped it all the way around. They 3x'd within less than a year, they sold it for 3 times what they bought it for, and they paid themselves over 100 grand for that time,
Holy
like for
shit.
working there.
And
And I
if it's
saw,
not a location issue and it's the same franchise, what's the difference?
so the way they manage, the
Mm-hmm.
way they negotiate with a franchise, there are some franchises that are really good, and I would say, hey, go with those guys, right? But you
Mm-hmm.
don't know about that until you really get in the mix
Mm-hmm.
of dealing with the franchise and the franchise agreement. Where do you get all the products from?
Yep.
And a lot of that comes down to negotiating.
Yep.
I mean, I've had business owners that they were leasing a space, and they're like, dude, I'm dying right now. I guess I have to sell. And I'm like, have you went to the landlord and say that you're about to go under to negotiate the lease? They're like, no. Okay, let's do that today first. Like, here's
Mm-hmm.
how I bring value to you. Lily, we just met. I don't know you from nobody else other than today. You called me. I'm coming out to help you.
Mm-hmm.
You could talk to your landlord and say, listen, dude, if I don't do something, the business is going under. I'm gonna have to close up shop. Can you work with me on the lease right now on my
Mm-hmm.
rent?
Yep.
Next thing you know, he's getting, $400, whatever, right? Like, it depends
Mm-hmm.
on the landlord, depends on there's so many variables, but like,
Right.
all of a sudden now you go from paying X and now you're like way lowered on your rent.
Mm-hmm.
And now that might just be the amount of money you needed to like get by and pay in marketing or do the next thing to be able to get your business back up and running.
What do
And
you
so a lot of people don't realize that.
what do you think gets in the way for business owners and entrepreneurs? What do you think inhibits their ability to ask for help? Because to your point, you just solved a major problem, took a lot of pressure off the system by telling them to make a phone call,
Yeah.
right? What gets in the way of that phone call being made in the first place?
Well, a lot of people are in the box for one. So everything comes back to, in my opinion, everything comes
Mm-hmm.
back to mindset
Mm-hmm.
and who you know. It's like just your knowledge. It's like the school of business, right? Like whatever
Mm-hmm.
you've learned and whoever your mentors are. I think
Yep.
mentors would be a big thing, and being in the right circle. But that leads back to your mindset of, okay, if you people just see a box and they go to school, a normal school, they're trained to just fall in line. If they didn't do the homework the right way,
Mm-hmm.
it's wrong. Maybe they came up with the right answer, but they did the equation wrong. They did it a
Mm-hmm.
different way, and they don't think outside the box. Like, okay, there's a billion ways I can move the needle. I could kind of a little bit of money here. I could come up with a special offer that I could like get some money fast, whatever that is. So I think what holds them back is, for one, not being around the right people, and for two, not having a
Mm-hmm.
resourceful mindset. Like I said, going back to resourceful, right? It's
Yeah.
what can I do to change? Either you change how much money comes in, or you change how much money goes out, and that's going to help me,
Mm-hmm.
get to the next month if that's what you need.
Right. Totally. So, one of the things that was really eye opening for me as I was trying to keep the gym afloat during the pandemic, and I'm at the Thunderbird School of uh, Management, and simultaneously, and I'm listening to a lot of these and reading through case study on case study on case study that is, essentially Monday morning quarterbacking the rise and fall of companies, right?
Yeah.
And what is not present in any case study is the context and the nuance of the human dynamic that goes into the situation they're in and the way the organization is led. It's really hard to paint that part of the picture in a case study,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, just
So
you're saying like the environment and the dynamic is what you're saying,
right,
right?
right. I mean, you can look at the X's and O's, and if like in hindsight, if they had done this, things would have gone better, and da 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 da. Da. But but the personality mix, the culture fits, like all of those things. There's no equation or algorithm for that part.
Yeah.
And uh, I'm curious, in your experience, both as an entrepreneur and from a business coaching perspective, how important is that to any particular outcome, plus or minus?
Yeah, I think that, well, I mean, for me, now it works. Some people can run a business and they're like super cold and they're like, these are the employees. They're not going to have, those employees will cycle through quite often, quite fast, probably, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to have them, they're going to leave for money,
Mm-hmm.
right? If somebody pays them more money, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I am super passionate about building businesses and working with owners that really care about their employees, because now if you're sitting here and you're doing little things like, buying a turkey for all of your employees for Thanksgiving and their families
Mm-hmm.
every year, and you buy that as the company, or you have company outings, or you build a culture where you're okay to like say that you messed up and then everybody can learn from it, and that culture is just priceless.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about the money at that like point. Like, to me, I think building that culture is way more important,
Yep.
and being able to have someone that, I don't know, I go in and I could see something's wrong with somebody, or somebody sees something wrong with me and they're like, hey, Zach, what's going on? I'd rather have someone do that than pay me more money,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'd rather have that type of environment. So it is super important to be able to have the right environment and the right leadership. And I think that's where it all comes down to, is leadership. And if I were to give an additional comment to that is where that leader would get that is about the community that they're in. So I relocated down here to Arizona because I wanted to be closer to one of my mentors and his team, and that helped give me a different light of, you know, how I should do things and how to build a proper team, or even how should I run my business, or like all the little things. Like I am definitely always willing, like in the military, like, hey, train your relief. I'm willing to always share and bring value. I try to bring value to anything before I ever try to have someone as a client. I'm like, hey, let's get on a call. Let's see if I could help you out. And then after that is when, okay, bring value. Now let's see where things trickle out and where they go, right? The money
Yep.
will follow. But I like to be resourceful and valuable to people. So I know it's kind of a long-winded thing, but it kind
Yeah.
of it adds into there. It's like if you, because if an owner's watching this and like, okay, cool, I need to build culture, I need to be a good quality leader, I need to care about my people. Well, how do I figure that out? Well, you need to find the other leaders that are doing that. You need to have a mentor. You need to have a Michael. You know, you need to have somebody that has got the experience that you want to put into your business.
Right. 100%, dude. You nailed it. The necessity for mentorship, I don't think can be overstated. But the more importantly is the right kind of mentorship. Not just somebody who knows how to make a whole bunch of money, but also has done it in a way that matches your aspirational trajectory. And what I mean by that is, I've got a client that is absolutely crushing it in business and has a super successful relationship with his wife. He's a great father. He checks all the good people boxes, right?
Yeah.
And he has a successful business. There was a point in time where he had spent the better part of his career bootstrapping this thing and achieved a level in which he didn't have the capacity to be a present family man and scale the company. And at that point, you know, it seemed as if he was trying to inject a whole bunch of complexity because MBAs say that this is how your org chart needs to be structured. Yeah. And this is where I was going. This brings us back to case studies, right? You got to look at the right examples, right? 100%. Because what I notice in the work that I've done, and I'm so curious about what this looks like for you in working with business leaders. And I'll go back to a mantra in the Marine Corps. In an acute combat environment, what is really highly effective in principle is the adage, mission, Marines, then me. That whole leaders eat last thing.
Yeah.
Okay. That is supremely effective in a combat environment or even on a submarine.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah. In that environment, right? You're putting them first, you're eating last. 100% agree.
That's not necessarily a sustainable practice in the business world from the standpoint, if you're the founder, visionary, leader, what I spend a lot of time coaching and relearning with my clients is you left yourself out of the business plan.
Yeah.
You created this machine that prints money, funds your lifestyle, provides for your family and your people, and you're left on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
How effective are you as a leader if you're the one out in the cold while everybody else is inside eating warm food?
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I think that's actually what I'm a person that when I was in the Navy, I'd always go down and do I think in the Marines, what you call like the grunt work, right? Like, you know, I would be the leader that would go down and I would, you know, on a submarine, you go down to clean the bilge, the oily bilge with a sponge, and you're squeezing it. Like, it's like gross stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I was the senior guy bringing my juniorest guy in. I'm like, he goes, I don't know how to do that. Cool. Let's go down. I'll show you. There's a lot of leaders that won't do that, right? So that's where you're saying like leaders eat last, or I'll go do this hard work with you kind of thing, or I'll get the
absolutely
straps.
Yep.
and transition into business, right? Yeah, there's
Mm-hmm.
a time and a place. Like you said, the guy was bootstrapping it. He was doing all the hard things, building this up.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to be able to show up. I think you have to show up and lead your guys. And the only way you could do that is still by being involved in some aspect.
Right.
If it's leading in sales, if it's leading, maybe it's you come in and you're like the motivator and you're going around and
Mm-hmm.
you're like kind of fitting in and filling in where you need to.
Mm-hmm.
But that can only happen after a certain stage. Once you could really step back and then
Mm-hmm.
see where you need to go back in.
Right.
Right. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a huge peak in between there. Like before, the owner literally has to be everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then they start hiring people, or they should, right? Once it comes to a certain point, they get a good process going, and like, hey, I bring somebody on, train them up, and now
Mm-hmm.
I could kind of like step back from that. But if they completely remove themselves altogether, then the respect, the
Yep.
leadership respect, that is gone. And realistically, and there's men and women that both obviously lead businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only speak for men because that's obviously who I am, right? But
Yep.
men really look highly upon respect.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I think that a lot of leaders have to still be able to go in and do the work. They still have to
Mm-hmm.
know the back end a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, at least the ballpark, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
specialties, and how you can elevate your team, I think, would be what I like to do is if someone's really good at something, this kind of goes back to our, kind of buying back your time or scaling the company. Is like
Mm-hmm.
I'll pay somebody that has more expertise than me and stuff now because I know I can't do everything. I
Mm-hmm.
also know my own mind. If I think about health and wellness, right, or something,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go down the rabbit hole to make sure I'm doing everything the right way.
Yeah.
Like, what are all the stats? You're like reading these business studies. Like, that's what you do, right? You read the business
Mm-hmm.
study and then you try to learn all the stuff. Now I've learned just to find the right person,
Mm-hmm.
which matches with what you said. They align with me.
Mm-hmm.
We're on a similar trajectory, or maybe they're already at where I want to be, and I'm going to pay them to teach me how I should handle things in
Mm-hmm.
this field.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, keep going though. Yeah, that's just, it's really awesome to be able to see like a whole full circle. Hopefully I
Mm-hmm.
kind of answered that. I know I kind
Yeah.
of
No.
scored off a little bit.
No, totally, man. It's interesting to me because like it wasn't too long ago that I came to the wisdom that in the eyes of the S&P, you're considered a small business until you eclipse $50 million in revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And for the overwhelming majority of us,
Yeah.
not to lower anybody's standard, but life gets pretty good well before 50
Oh,
million if you're doing it right.
yeah.
But there's this there's this what do you call it? Unrealistic expectation from that is disconnected from what you truly desire in terms of the lifestyle you want to have and what this business is intended to provide for you. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And so when you get to that place of scaling beyond the bootstrapping, what I see a lot of business leaders outsource first because it's what they think they're supposed to do is their zones of genius, like their biggest contribution to the company beyond being the person that built it.
You're saying that's the first thing that you see people
Yeah.
outsource is
I,
not their skill set?
yeah. And beyond that, if they're lucky, the thing that brings them the most joy and fulfillment in the business. And if they're like really fortunate, those two things are the same thing.
Yeah.
And
that's
they
the last thing they should probably do, right?
100%. 100%. But they give that away because, now I need to build the org chart this way because that's what the book says.
Yeah.
That's what the enterprise institutions have it, the way they have it set up. And it's like, no, you're still a small business. You're still like you still want to be involved at a tactical level, not just a strategic one. You know what I mean? So with that being said, to your point, the last thing you should let go of is the thing that that only you can do, that you're amazing at, and that brings you the most joy and fulfillment in the business.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, I had a when I was a business broker, I had he owned a flooring company.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Why did he start a flooring company? Because he liked putting in floors, man. Like he just,
Mm-hmm.
and then he bought 1 truck, 2 truck, 3 truck, and he got all these trucks. And next thing you know, he had 3, 4 crews, and now he's
Mm-hmm.
running a business. And the business side was a hard thing. So
Yeah.
realistically, he's like, I just love going in, quoting floors, installing
Mm-hmm.
floors, and I love to see like the change in the house or whatever
Yeah.
wherever they're doing it. And the book side is what he didn't know, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
it's like you can't take that away from him. Like he's super passionate about it. It's like, dude, you need to get an office manager. You need
Yep.
to get, you need to get something over here. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
need it, right, you got to find somebody that wants to do that or is very good at it. It's all about
Yep.
learning skills. So
Yes.
I'll segue real quick about learning people's skill set, and we can come right back. But
Yeah. Yeah.
in the Navy, one time I had to learn. One of my leaders told me we do these drills. Obviously, military, we always do a lot of drills. You're up for a
Mm-hmm.
long time. Well, we're handling, huge ordnance, torpedoes, and we're moving around a torpedo room, and we're up for, 30 hours.
Okay.
And I gotta, I'm the guy in charge of the safety of everything, right? And then I
Yep.
got a guy that's a team leader, and he's reading out of a book, and you got to circle it, tell the guy to do it. He does it, check box. Okay, so I need a guy that's very attentive to book work.
Yeah.
Then I got a visual guy in front. He's looking to make sure everything's clear. It's a 21-foot torpedo. Got to make sure everything's clear so it doesn't smash anything. We have a huge violation, right? We don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got a guy in the back operating hydraulics, big hydraulics, and that's obviously moving it all, and it could crush things. You could damage other equipment,
Right.
and we're up for 30 hours. How do you pick who goes where?
Yeah.
You got to find the guys. Okay, he can operate still on little sleep and operate these hydraulic systems. This guy, he can at least stand there and visually look. Like I'll just kick him asleep. He's up by me. I kick him, keep him awake. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, stay awake. Is it clear? What are we doing? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got the book guy, and is he going through? Can he actually? It literally, you'll get hit, and if we're on inspection, you
Mm-hmm.
do a circle, and then you move on without completing a major checkpoint.
Mm.
Grease pencil. If you just don't do the check mark, it's a hit. It's a
Right.
violation.
Right.
And so that goes back to here is like, as they build a company or the flooring
Mm-hmm.
guy, what are people's skill sets? What are they
Right.
passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
It's also the same reference as me as when I was wanting to buy a business, get it squared away, and then eventually I'd have someone or bring someone up through the ranks who's really passionate about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finding their skill set. Like, do they like to lead? Do they,
Yeah.
you can't always,
Mm-hmm.
some people just aren't made to be leaders. Some people aren't made to
Mm-hmm.
do book work. It's
Yeah.
like, where is it at? And you got to recognize that. And
Yeah.
so it stinks when you see all these people, these business owners
Mm-hmm.
giving away the thing that gives them power and energy.
Dude, guilty as charged, man.
Yeah.
When I started the gym, the first thing I gave away when I started beefing up my team, I tried to get myself off the floor as fast as possible so that I could do the admin stuff.
Yeah.
And if I could do it all over again, I'd have coached every class until I couldn't do it anymore and taken that additional revenue and invested in an office manager.
Yeah.
Because it was the biggest knowledge gap at the time and the thing I hated doing the most.
Yeah.
And
it took you the longest. It took you the longest to do.
Yeah.
Because you didn't know how to do it.
Because I'm not good at it and I'm not
like
interested in this shit.
And you're putting it off. You're like,
right.
I'll do it later.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do it later.
100%.
And then you got taxes or something comes up,
Mm-hmm.
some audit, whatever it was. It's like now I'm sitting up until 3 a.m, 4 a.m,
Yep.
doing crazy work. And then people are like, oh, how do you, oh man, you're doing a lot of work. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, dude, but I had to do it. Right.
And you know what people look at that behavior pattern? They look at that shit and they celebrate it. Like, oh, you're a hard worker.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is when business leaders buy into negative behavior patterns, because that thing that's digging you a slow grave inch by inch is also the thing that you're celebrated for.
Yeah.
The grind, the hustle, the midnight oil, all of that stuff. And it's just like, I feel like that's where you and I are very much aligned in that. It's like, dude, it does not have to be that way.
Yeah. Well,
at all.
and here's so this kind of brings into a big picture too. It's like that's why you need a mentor. That's why you need someone that already did it. But also too, it's like I at the time I didn't know. I mean, as I've gone along, I didn't know about mentorship. I didn't know. I did. I mean, I did because of military, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
an outside thing. Like, oh, civilians,
Well,
and
we're
then I went to
in
corporate and
in the Navy. Was there's leadership and then there's mentorship. There's the people that are in charge of you,
yeah,
your staff NCOICs, your officers in charge, etc. And then there's mentors, the people that are responsible for the big picture that is Zach.
yeah.
Right? What do you want from the Navy experience? Is this a 4-year thing? Do we need to redesign your career trajectory, or are you punching out after this contract? Right? Like those resources are baked into the scaffolding, right?
Yeah.
To the point that I feel like most, and I see this in the high level athlete transition as well as the veteran transition. It's so organic to the system. You either take it for granted, you didn't realize that you had it, and then when you get out, you're like, what made me so great at what I do again? And now you're left scrambling to discover, like, oh shit, that's right, I had somebody looking out for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So was that the mentorship keyword, buzzword, necessity? Was that something that you came out of the Navy knowing that you needed, or did you lose it and then realize, like, oh, I need to go find it?
So when I got out, I was selected and pinned for E7, and I had led multiple people throughout the Navy, and I was
Mm-hmm.
just, and so like I said, I had that passion, so I always
You
wanted to
became a
give
mentor
it.
yourself.
Yeah, and so I love doing that. I was corporate America. I'm on site in like Missouri at a auto manufacturer, and I'm talking to one of my guys that's like, he's one of my I'd say just like a mechanic that works on
Mm-hmm.
robots.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, what do you want to do though? What do you want to do in life? Like, where do you want to go? Like, and I'm over here like, we're gonna get you there, man. Like, we got to do this. And then every time I see him, like, hey, did you work on that? And like, I'm just following up. I'm following up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that as time went on, I was always one thing that changed me is I did 75 hard. I did a modified, the 75 hard day
Mm-hmm.
challenge, right? Um, I did that. I modified it because I had the kids in hockey
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So some people the hard goers out there would say, you didn't really do it. But I don't care. You know why? Hey, I don't care. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do it by your book, but listen, I did it. And you know what it did? It changed my life.
What did it
Because
change for you?
I learned how to dedicate reading time, 10 pages a day
Yeah.
in a personal development book. I called my uncle, who at the time, he grew a company in Chicago, had 200, I think, employees or something,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even more. And he was probably the most business successful guy I knew. And I said, listen, hey, Jim, can you give me like a top 10 reading list? And he gave me a top 10 reading list. And then I did the 75 hard. I did the diet. I did one workout a day. That's where I cheated, is I didn't do
Okay.
two, one outside, one inside kind of thing. I just
Mm-hmm.
made sure I had to be dripping sweat. I had to do one, but it was like I had to do a good one.
Mm-hmm.
But that changed my life in the sense of reading personal development books and learning who to get that information from. And so, fast forwarding though, I'm trying to remember like the main, so I could segue back in. I weaved a little too
No, you're
far.
good, man. You're good.
But
Mentorship.
that changed me quite a lot. And I
Mm-hmm.
knew that I needed to find people in business. And maybe that was the connection I made at that time, was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
my uncle's in business. There's other people out there. Who else can I connect with? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was always seeking to learn. And I think that mentality, maybe it was taught early on the farm. Maybe it was re-embraced in the military, always learning.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting out, and I had to be resourceful in corporate America because I was on site. I had to figure things out.
Mm-hmm.
And so in business, I was like, okay, who should I be learning from?
Yeah.
And then so I, do, watching YouTube or watching, different people. And then now adding reading books, and then the books would recommend somebody. And so then I was always, okay, who's the next person?
Mm-hmm.
And then I needed, when I was in the business brokerage, I wanted to become better at sales. I had leadership. I've done leadership for years. I've
Mm-hmm.
built teams. I've done all kinds of things. I was like, okay, sales is where it's at, dude. That's my next thing. And so then that's where I end up finding my mentor down here in Arizona. And I came down to one of his events, and then him and his wife were like, you guys should sell everything and move down here. And we did.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had an 11-acre farm. We had 5-bedroom house. I had horses, pigs, chickens. Oh, yeah. I didn't even tell you. I was corporate America. Corporate America, dude. I had business brokerage, 3 kids in sports, and we had a full farm. 11-acre
Holy
farm,
smokes.
2 horses. Like I said, yeah, pigs, chickens. It was crazy, you know? And so, but anyways, you know, it's like, he even reeled it in for me. It's like, you know what? You got this going. You got this going. Dude, you're just spinning your wheels basically everywhere. I'm like, you're
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yep.
And so I came down to Arizona. The first thing I did, I went to door-to-door sales,
Okay.
and I did solar sales.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I'll tell you what, man, if you want to challenge yourself, just go do door-to-door sales. Like, it's
Dude,
I
when I cut
the
my
value.
teeth, when I cut my teeth in sales, I rented a desk. I was in a network marketing company, but they ran it. My the organization that I was a part of ran it like a real business. Like
Okay.
I wasn't doing living room presentations. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I had an office, I had a desk, I had a dedicated phone line, all that shit. And my upline, my leadership, shout out to Liz if she's ever watching this. Uh, she would like just shy of chain me to the fucking desk. She's like, you don't go home until you've made 100 calls.
Do I love it?
And like the hang up in your face, the fuck yous, don't call here again. You know, is this a scam? Pop up, you know, like all of it. And it was so much less about bringing people in the door and so much more about creating that callus, you know, like becoming numb to no. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And that's the part that, to your point, go door to door, smile and dial. Like that's where automation is going to kill so many young careers because there's so much value in knowing how to do it the hard way so
Yeah.
that you can appreciate and leverage the tools that make it more efficient and easier.
The confidence you get.
Mm-hmm. So, dude, like I resonate with that so hard. You know, if you've had a door slammed in your face or ever been hung up on or cussed
Yeah.
out,
Were you a commission person at that time, or was it a salary,
oh
or?
yeah, oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
dude,
Okay, cool.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I always tell people you're not paid
I've
for,
actually I've never had a salary job.
dude, that's phenomenal.
Wait,
Yeah.
well, I take that back. Because I don't consider my Marine Corps career
Yeah.
as a real
It's,
job.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But
No, I get you. Yeah, yeah,
I've never had a salary job outside of the Marines.
yeah. So I
Mm-hmm.
was gonna say, on the side of like hanging up and the door slamming, I always tell people that you don't get paid for the yeses, you get paid for the nos. So keep going. Right? Just keep going. It's like, dude, it's the best, man.
I've never heard that, dude, and I love it so much.
Yeah. I got a guy that I'm working with right now. I'm helping him coaching him on basically getting in the door. He does insurance, like roofs and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
for commercial.
Yeah.
And I just had this conversation with him the other day, and I said, "Listen, dude, and I know the flow. You know the flow. There's
Mm-hmm.
highs, and you're like, dude, I got all these deals, all these sales I'm doing, and then all of a sudden, it's like they start canceling, or whatever happens. It's like, I don't have anything. Like, those are all false bottoms. Like, I'm going low, I'm shoot, and you're like, and then you don't want to go knock the next door, right? Or you don't want to call the next call. It's like everything canceled. And so I told him, I said, man, you get a good commission, right? Like, your commissions, like, the structure is good, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the answer is always yes. That's why it's such a good commission thing to do, right?
Right.
And so anytime I talk to people, I said, okay, the structure is good.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting paid. You don't get paid for the yeses. You're getting paid for the nos.
Right.
Every no that you get, every slam, every door slam, every no, whatever, is one step closer to your next deal.
Yeah.
Now I need you to
Mm-hmm.
keep up your momentum. I need you to keep smiling. You need to be happy. You got to be grateful.
Act as
And
if.
you need to go to the next door, or you need to go to
Mm-hmm.
the next business, or you got to pick up the next dial, and
Mm-hmm.
you need to just do it, because you know what? You're making an impact. And I always tell people that are in sales, if you don't like sales, stop trying to sell something and start trying to educate people.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? Really, realistically, if you feel icky about sales,
Mm-hmm.
stop thinking that you're trying to sell them on a product that doesn't help them, and start
Right.
either representing a product that is good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think you should do it anyway. I don't want to do
Right.
it, or like literally, like only sell a product that you think is going to actually help the person.
Right.
But stop looking at it as like you're trying to sell them on it, and start looking
Mm-hmm.
that you're going to educate them.
Mm-hmm.
If you can have that mindset, like I'm an educator about this product,
Yep.
I believe in it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just educating, you will increase your sales just off of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, simply.
Yeah, dude, you got to carry that momentum, man. That's why they call it smiling and dialing.
Yeah.
Like body language, your physical presence transcends the medium of an email or a phone call. And a lot of people
Yeah.
don't know that.
Yeah.
If I feel like absolute trash, but I smile while I'm on the phone with you, you
It
can
comes through.
feel that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like those were things that were very much trial by fire, but those were lessons that are extremely valuable
Mm-hmm.
in staying in the game. My mentor at the time, the leader of this organization, his mantra was pay attention, get excited, never quit. He's like, if you can, like, whether you stay in this game or not, if you do those three things day in, day out, it's really hard to lose the game of life.
100%. And just the consistency, like never quitting.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's just basically saying it in a different way. Right. I
Right.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe someone's trying to launch a business, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like, I need more money to keep it going. Okay. So yeah, maybe you need to figure out a way to navigate that,
Mm-hmm.
but don't quit on what you want to achieve. Don't like
Right.
redirect. Don't
Yeah.
go back. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I really tell people, and I picked this up somewhere, and kind of how they forecast. Like, I don't know what I want to do. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Like, this is what and I don't remember where I picked this up, but um, I always ask them these two things. It's like, okay, if you had the time, the money,
Mm-hmm.
and the resources, or the
Yep.
people, right,
Mm-hmm.
or the systems,
Sure.
so time, money, and resources, what
Mm-hmm.
would you do for the next 6 months?
Mm-hmm.
I go quiet, and I wait for the response.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, well, I would probably work on building this, I don't know, app, or like whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, I want to build
Mm-hmm.
a flooring company. I want to open a juice store. I guess
Yeah.
if I had the time, and I always say, all your bills are paid. Like, you have the money, right? All your bills are paid.
Mm-hmm.
What would you be working on right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, write that down. That's your goal. That's your ambition. That's where you need to be working.
Yeah. To get
So
to
time,
that.
money, and resources,
Mm-hmm.
and that'll get you where you need to go.
But dude, that brings me to this critical place for people that are high achievers, high performers, that applaud themselves on their capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you just said, if Zach's not sitting right in front of me, if there's no Michael in your life,
Yeah.
that asks that big question, shuts up, and creates the space for you to sit still, uninterrupted, and answer that question from the neck down, heart and gut, intuition led,
Yeah.
not logic and rationally driven. That's where I feel like people go off track. They're trying to logic their way into success when the stick-to-itiveness of it all comes from down here.
Well, yeah, they want to have it all. Basically, in other words, right? They want to have it all figured out and mapped out before they actually take the leap.
Fuck, I wish that's how it worked.
Right? But yeah, I know, right? I mean, hey, it'd be easy. It's like, hey, this is the way it is. And you usually have to jump off the cliff and figure out where it falls. And a lot of people are very scared of that. And I think a big part of that, and maybe you could give me your feedback on your exit from the military.
Yeah.
But I left the military after 10 years and I had a consistent paycheck and I didn't care if I had to work at McDonald's. I said that earlier, right? So now when it comes to taking a risk, I'm thinking, oh, dude, I've already done it. I walked away from a 10-year career. Oh, you know, people say they think it's crazy. Like, you sold everything. I had a corporate job making over 6 figures. I had a business brokerage that was successful. I mean, I done better on all of those? Yes, I could have done better. I could have always done more.
Yeah.
But I learned so much through those things. But I literally walked away from all of that to try to start from ground one. And I was door knocking.
Yeah.
For a commission. Like, I'm not eating unless I knock a door and close a deal.
Yeah.
And I had a 6-figure salary at a corporate job.
Yeah.
And people are like, why would you ever walk away from that? It's like, well, I walked away from a 10-year career to maybe work at McDonald's.
My CO was so pissed when I denied augmentation to re-up.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, you're about to be promoted to captain. And what are you going to do? So I'm going to go open a gym. He's like, and I shit you not, as he sits, well, I am at parade rest in front of the man as he's reading me the riot act behind his desk. And he's like, what the fuck do you know about running a business? And I said, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. And
then they doubt you. And then they doubt you though.
Right? Well, it's, you know, for the, no offense, for the civilians listening to this conversation, there's a lot of security in the military.
Oh, 100%.
The 1st and the 15th comes no matter what. You get a 2% raise every year. Like, the worst case scenario is a 7-month pump somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right. And long gone are the days, you know, if you look at Band of Brothers or the Pacific or any of those epic war stories, back then when you deployed, you were gone till the war is over. Right.
Yeah.
So like, that's not what we're doing anymore. That's not the way the big green machine works. And with that, why would you trade all of that security to go roll the dice on a question mark?
Yeah. And
he could not understand it. He was pissed, you know, and that goes back. But I also caught myself in a situation. I remember this like it was yesterday, bro. At OCS, we had just been slayed all day long, and I'm in the rack sweating my ass off. I'd just been, you know, hazed up and down the squad bay on fire watch. And I roll up into the top bunk, and the cat next to me leans over, and, you know, you're like whispering in the dark, you know, hey dude, like, is this like a one and done thing for you? Or are you going to do, like, do you think you're going to do 20 years? You know, what's your plan? And I'll never forget the guy below us, Taylor from the University of Florida. I'll never forget this dude. It was, I don't think he even knows how wise this shit was. He's like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm gonna just do this till it ain't fun no more. And I was like, fuck yes, that's it right there. And I had all the fun I wanted to have as a Marine in my first 4 years. I didn't have anything else, another carrot to dangle in front of me that would have made it worth staying another 4 years for Michael. And then I caught myself in this situation that what's best for the Marine Corps isn't always best for the Marines in terms of the Marine, in terms of what laid ahead of me in my next duty assignment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so those were that's the game I was playing. But I always knew I wanted my own deal.
Yeah.
You know, because I had already demonstrated a capacity for just taking all the no's. Like I'll take those L's for the team. You know what I mean? I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
You know, So there,
you gotta get comfortable being uncomfortable.
yeah,
right?
there was a whole bunch of shit I didn't know, but I wasn't afraid of what I didn't know. Going back to the point that you made earlier, like I love learning.
Yep.
So even if I fuck this up royally, I'm gonna be smarter for it.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I think a lot of business owners do is they go through, they'll mess something up, and then I've had just I replay it through. I tell them I just go through this. So you're telling me you did this, and then you did this, and then this was the result, and then I run it through. Like, well, when you say it like that, that was kind of dumb of me. I'm like, well, it's okay. Like, we all mess it up. We just gotta, you gotta learn, right? You gotta learn from your experiences, and so I think that's a huge thing is just constantly going forward, right? Is seeing what the next step is, but getting around the right people. I'm kind of wrapping it back in there a little bit, but no, it's always good to do that. So, but yeah, what was the next thing? I don't even know where we're at.
No, fuck, man. Dude, that's a great place to fucking close it out, man. Zach Ratashak, everybody. Where can everybody find you and gain some knowledge from the tactical mind?
Yeah, so tactical-mind.com, or you can go on, it's either Zach Ratashak on some of the social medias, or it's official Zach Ratashak. Before we get off though, I already kind of showed you, but I got my workbook. So I have an event that I'm planning to do. This is literally just picked this up today. It's kind of like my first printed proof. So it's Command and Scale. Basically, I take the people through leadership. Was like the first topic. So basically how we talked here is like, hey, how do you become a good leader? How do you build that environment? What systems you should implement? What's your sales team doing? What is the customer experience?
Yeah.
Right. And then just kind of wrapping that all together, and how do we build on that? Right. And so it's pretty cool. I know I'm going to send it over to you so you can give me your feedback.
I look forward to it, man.
But it's definitely something I'm super passionate about. I want to be able to help business owners, and they don't, people just don't understand what could drastically change their life just off of a little system.
Hell yeah, dude. I appreciate you making the time.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on here, man.
Yeah, man. For everybody that's on a mission to be the fittest leader possible, it comes down to integrity, courage, and ownership. And it's all laid on the foundation of alignment first. If you love this conversation, head over to nextlevelhq.co and join us in the Leaders Forum. We'll see you next week.